goes to right. Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Party on Broad. Party on Broad can be found on iTunes and Spotify. If you're watching us here on YouTube, be sure to smash that like, comment, and subscribe button. Today, we are going to be doing a full first round mock draft. We are controlling via the Draft Network's mock simulator every single team in the first round. We broke it down between all of us. We're going to give who we think that each team should select in the first round. If you guys are watching, though, please be sure to talk trash, comment. How would you grade each selection? We want to hear from you guys. Joining us today is my man Shane. You know him on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. What's going on, Shane?
Not much. I got a crazy story. Do we have time for a crazy short story?
I guess so. Sure.
So I got back. I'm really happy because I got back from a ski trip a couple of days ago, and then my wife and kids left for a day. So I got that day by myself and working around the house, listening to some podcasts. And the next day I realized I can't find my AirPods anywhere. They were missing for like 36 hours, during which time there's like a torrential downpour at our house. And then I went to go let the dog in, and I just out of the corner of my eye see my AirPods case like in the middle of the yard. No idea how it got there, but I found them, and miraculously somehow they still work. So, yeah, so I'm feeling lucky tonight. I'm feeling like I'm about to have the best draft ever. I do want to say, if you're going to talk trash in the comments, direct a lot of it to Dibes. I'm sick of this guy. Sick of this guy already, him cyberbullying me about my draft. So we're all the hate directed over here tonight.
Yeah. So if anyone knows, I just want to refresh everyone's memories. I took down this guy, 73% to 27%. Domination in our last dueling mock show. All right. Also joining us today is the man, the myth, the legend. Guess who's back? Back again. Rob is back. Back again. What's going on, Rob?
Man. First of all, how's my sound, right? Because I'm on a mic. We're trying to make it work. Sound good?
You sound good, man.
All right. Good. Secondly, there has never been something I've been more excited to do than be back with you guys. I appreciate my TPL family. You guys have been checking in on me. It's been an interesting few months, but I'm back. And there's nothing I like doing better than mock drafts the way that we would hope the Eagles would actually look at a draft board, even though we know that they don't look at it the right way. But I will be back.
Yeah, I love it. We were just joking. Like Shane and I have been doing a lot of mocks, and people are grading it like D's and F's. And like there, if Howie had like remotely close to the drafts that we have been pulling over the last several weeks, like there would be just home run, doing backflips types of trades. But here we are, people still giving it D's and F's. But
I'm just telling you right now, if you graded my last draft a D, there's not enough letters in the alphabet for you to grade Howie's draft last offseason.
All right. Before we get rolling, guys, let's do a quick word from our sponsor. Let me go get this real quick. There we go. Hey, what's up, guys? March Madness is here. The NBA and NHL are both in full swing. Baseball opening day is coming up, while we here at the Painted Lines are devoted to bringing you top-notch content from all the major sports. We are excited to also now give you the opportunity to cash in on all that content and knowledge. If you follow the link below, you will have the opportunity to sign up with BetRivers, an online sportsbook, and get an instant new user deposit match of up to $250. That's free money that you can use and try to turn into more free money. Let's go. Don't sit there and waste all that money. Turn every basket into an otherwise meaningless Cavs-Timberwolves matchup in on a random Wednesday in March. That makes it all the more exciting. For betting tips and advice, be sure to check out written content from our top prognosticator, Money Max, on our website at thepaintedlines.com, or check out the Tough Cover podcast right here on the Painted Lines YouTube channel. You've seen the commercials all over TV and radio, but now is the time. Sign up today with BetRivers using the link below and start cashing in on your love for sports. Using the link below will automatically inform BetRivers that TPL sent you, and you'll get that new user deposit match of up to $250. Don't miss out on this opportunity for some free money, baby. All right, business is taken care of. Let's get rolling, guys. Shane, you're number one on the clock. We're just going to do this like counterclockwise. It'll be Shane, then me, then Rob, and we'll just continue to do this through the first round. With that being said, the NFL draft is officially open. Shane, you're on the clock, bro.
All right, so to be clear, for our little mock draft here, we're going to be playing the role of the GMs for every NFL team, doing some combination of what we think they should do, what we think they will end up doing, and we're trying to be a little realistic here. So I'm sitting here with the Jags at number 1. I could trade the first overall pick for 18 first-rounders from the Bears because they need a quarterback so bad, but that's not really what we're going for. We're looking for some sort of simulation of what might happen, and to be honest, the only thing that could ever happen at pick number 1, and everybody knows what it is.
Wait. Is it in?
Yes. Go. Yeah, my bad. Play it.
Pick is in.
With the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson University.
All right.
I mean, obviously that pick's something. Everybody knows that's coming. The Jaguars need a quarterback. They've needed one for years. You can talk yourself into somebody being over Lawrence, but you're kind of crazy. I mean, Lawrence is QB1. He's been clear QB1 for a long time. He's absolutely the pick for the Jaguars at 1.
Awesome. That means I am on the clock with pick number 2. I've got the Jets. I've got both Jets picks here, which I'm really excited about. And how can you not talk about the Jets without talking about Sam Darnold? He's got 1 year remaining on his rookie contract. Between the Deshaun Watson trade rumors and the likelihood that the Jets possibly select a quarterback here, it is definitely one of the main storylines heading in this NFL draft. You look at Sam Darnold's Pro Football Focus rating, 63.1 since 2018, ranks dead last among quarterbacks. I am not on the Sam Darnold train. So with that being said, I mean, you look at his sixth worst completion percentage. You look at his passer rating, 72.7, ranked the league worst, just above Carson Wentz. But I don't see this guy potentially developing into a franchise quarterback, even though he's been dealt a terrible hand during his short NFL career. I think this one comes down to Wilson versus Fields. And guys, I'm going to roll with Justin Fields here. This might be the surprise pick so far in this draft. When I look at Justin Fields' best qualities, such as his athleticism, such as his ability to throw down the field, he just screams that modern NFL quarterback. I just think Justin Fields is a better player than Zach Wilson. I like the way he goes through his progressions. I like that Fields has done it against better competition in college. I think he has a higher ceiling. And the Jets are just in a perfect position to roll the dice on Justin Fields because he has that higher ceiling. Hopefully he's that franchise quarterback they so desperately need. The New York Jets are happy to select Justin Fields with the number 2. Oh, shit.
Man, it's your own ding.
My goodness.
Good Lord.
The New York Jets are happy to select Justin Fields with the number 2 overall selection. With that said, Rob Lange, you are officially on the clock.
Well, let me tell you, when I found out that I was the 3rd in the order, I was super pumped on so many levels, right? I was, I knew that meant I had the 6th pick of the draft, which is our fearless Eagles. But a pick that might be even more exciting and more nerve-wracking to Eagles fans everywhere is right here. And it's the number 3 pick in the draft. And everywhere you look, people are talking Miami, Jamar Chase, to match with Tua. And there is certainly fear in my heart as an Eagles fan that that's a possibility. But there are going to be so many teams calling Miami with deals that I personally believe Miami's first choice is going to be to trade back. Okay. And my guess is one of the 2 teams are going to make strong offers. And it's going to be Carolina and it's going to be Denver. And what I'm going to do if I'm the Dolphins is I'm calling Carolina right away.
I'm listening. I have Carolina. Let's talk.
All right. I'm calling Carolina, and I'm going to say, listen, you tried it out with Teddy B last year. It didn't work. There's this kid from North Dakota State. Seems like a guy Matt Rule would love the coach. No, it's not.
My God.
It's not Carson Wentz. It's a guy by the name of Trey Lance. So I'm going to call Carolina and say, Carolina, I know you want them. I know other teams are going to try and jump up here. What are you going to offer me to give you my third pick? And what's Carolina going to say to me?
Carolina's going to say, I'll definitely give you my number 8 pick. What would that typically cost? We're talking at least probably a future pick. Go to 8 from 8 to 3. We're definitely talking future picks, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think some future picks, because here's a team in Miami who's on the cusp of something, but they don't know what they have in Tua yet. So they're not going to draft a quarterback this year, I don't think, at least early. So they're going to want that future pick, I think, in case Tua doesn't work, and they're going to need to draft a quarterback. So, I mean, I'm thinking they're looking for, a future 8 to 3. It's a hefty jump. It's a hefty jump, or 7 to 3.
All right.
No, this is not that I don't want Chase. I want Chase. But I'm saying, if I am Miami, I'm trying to get value for this pick from these quarterback needy teams. Now, I also have control of Denver. So I'm sitting here going, let's see. They're probably going to call me at some point. But Carolina's, they're dipping.
Yeah, you can't negotiate with yourself. That's cheating. I'll have to be Denver if you want to negotiate with Denver.
Well, I would love to negotiate with Carolina, but I feel like they're just, dipping their toes in, but they're like, a teenage girl on the first date, not really sure where they want to go with this. I mean, I'd like to see an offer come my way before I make a decision here.
All right. I will offer you my first round pick next year, and a third rounder this year.
Cool. That's something I think Miami's going to look at, and they're going to say, you're talking about another. We got 2 first rounders this year. It's going to give us a second first rounder next year. We could really start to build this thing the right way, and we're still picking at 7, so there's still going to be somebody on the board. And if Denver doesn't call in, then I think Miami's going to take that trade and allow Carolina up the board.
Is that it? Is that official? Do we have an official trade?
Denver's going to sit. They're going to let that go.
Sit. So that's an official trade that the Dolphins are getting back.
All right. Carolina has officially moved up. Should I make the trade here on Draft Network?
Yeah, you'll have to, so it'll work out right for us.
All right. Give me a second. What does this trade mean for the Miami Dolphins, Rob?
Well, what it does is, listen, you're still going to get a highly impactful player at number 7 if you're Miami. You also have a second first-round pick that you're going to be able to draft with. And now you have 2 for next year. Listen, Miami's getting better, but you can't call them a Super Bowl-ready team yet because they have a huge question mark with Tua, right? They don't know what he is yet. So, would it be nice to just say, all right, we'll give him Jamar Chase. Okay, but now you're giving yourself an opportunity to build for the next couple of years. And if Tua doesn't work out next year, right, and you're high in the first round again, well, now you can draft a quarterback and still draft another impact player. I'm telling you, if Miami stays there, I'll be kind of surprised.
Yep.
When you listen to some of the draft guys and the guys that have connections in the league, they're talking 4 quarterbacks in the top 6. I mean, you're hearing it constantly right now. Mm-hmm. Miami's not going to draft a quarterback, I don't think. If they do, okay, but I think that they're going to trade back instead.
We have some comments here. Renegade says Deshaun Watson's done with these accusations. Twin_FG says Pitts or Chase at number 5. The O-line is deep this year for the Bengals. We're going to be hitting the Bengals very, very soon. Renegade says, I want the Eagles to trade back with Denver. That's definitely still on the table. Or Miami keeps trading back. Who knows? We will see how this goes. And Renegade said we should definitely trade back if 6 comes and Chase Smith and Pitts are all available. Interesting. So here we go. I'm going to make my selection. The Carolina Panthers have the number 3 pick. We have been eyeing the Atlanta Falcons pick here at number 4. We're not going to make any fuss here. I think they're obviously clearly attacking the quarterback position. You look at just kind of that starting offense. The Panthers have truly only 5 starters locked in 2021, and none more stand out than the quarterback position. Bridgewater remains under contract, but all signs point he's not the future for the Carolina Panthers. So I've got Trey Lance going to the Carolina Panthers. I think this is a perfect fit for the Panthers. He's got the size, the arm strength, the running ability, the big play potential that puts him right up there with some of the guys that have been previously drafted, like Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, Jordan Love. I think this guy plays with a ton of poise. That can't be said enough. My guy, Matt Rule from the Temple University, gets his guy to build around for the rest of his tenure there, probably in Carolina. And the read option potential of Trey Lance and Christian McCaffrey is going to be absolutely outstanding. A-plus move here for the Carolina Panthers. Did they trade up one position too much? Who knows? They're not playing games this year. Matt Rule gets his guy to build around long-term. Happy with this selection. I'm going to go Trey Lance.
So Renegade says the Atlanta phone is blowing up with Wilson dropping, and that's exactly where we're looking at. So I'm on the clock. As the Falcons have a new GM and a new coach this year. That's a scenario where you see a quarterback a lot of times. You get a GM and a coach come in. They want to tie their future to their guy. But they just restructured Matt Ryan. And so Ryan's pretty much locked in for 2 years. They could draft a guy, but Ryan will be on their roster for the next 2 seasons. So you don't really want to waste 2 years of that rookie deal. So I think the Falcons don't want to take a quarterback here. What the Falcons really need is they need an edge rusher or they need a cornerback. Their secondary was terrible last year, gave up more 20-plus yard plays than anybody in the league. They allowed the most passing yards per game in the entire NFL. And part of that's because the secondary is bad. Part of that's because they got the second least pressure in the league. So you're looking, I think, at corner or edge. There's not an edge worth taking at 4. Ideally, you don't want to stand here and take a corner either. There's better value in moving back. So if I'm the Falcons right now, I am picking up the phone and I'm calling the Denver Broncos. And I'm talking to the Broncos and I'm saying, hey, 3 of the 4 quarterbacks are gone. Zach Wilson's here. You thought he was going off the board at 2. Broncos, what will you give me to move up to my pick, number 4?
Yeah, and if I'm sitting here at the Broncos, listen, they've had a nice offseason. They've kind of rebuilt that secondary. They bring in Eagles fans started pining for Kyle Fuller. He was on the market for about 3.5 minutes until Denver gave him a contract. But they need that quarterback, and I think you're going to see John Elway and Denver do whatever it takes to get up there. I do. I really think you're going to see 2 trades like that. I think Denver was probably sitting back hoping they could get to the Eagles at 6 before making, so maybe they didn't have to give up as much capital. But the way this draft board's falling, and I have a little good idea about what the Eagles might be doing at 6 right now if things continue to play out this way.
That's insider trading, man. That's illegal. That's illegal in all 50 states.
So if I'm Denver, I'm saying, listen, I'm going to give you, number 9. I'm going to give you my 2nd round pick. I'm going to give you a 5th round pick this year, but I'm also going to sweeten it with a next year pick for you, a 2nd rounder next year as well.
So your offer is a 1st, 2nd, and 5th this year and a 2nd next year.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take that deal. I'm going to drop back.
Boom, guys. A lot of moves going down here early on. We're only on pick 4.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
Woo! I love it, guys.
And I can tell you that once the Broncos make this deal, They're going to run. They will sprint to the table in Cleveland.
We have Renegade saying, I need that 2022 first. Is it pick in? Is it pick in?
Pick is playing.
All right.
Maybe, but I don't think for QB4. I don't think for QB4 you get that future first.
Yeah.
I'd say there. Go ahead.
The pick is in.
All right, so the pick is in, and Denver gets what they hope is their quarterback of the future. They did not expect to see BYU Zach Wilson still sitting on the board, but lo and behold, he is, and lo and behold, he will go from Brigham Young University to Mile High, and he's the next Denver quarterback.
Nice. All right, bear with me here, guys, while I put
All
it
right.
in the Draft Network.
The Cincinnati Bengals are now on the clock.
And now it's interesting.
And now the draft starts now.
And Eagles fans everywhere are biting their nails like they never have before.
All right, we've got to the Broncos. Where the hell are the Broncos? There they are. Next. All right, so we've got first. What was it, a second? And first.
Second. 1, 2, 5 this year, 2 next year.
Oh, yeah.
So while you plug that in, twin_FG on Twitch said a while back, Pitts or Chase at 5, the O-line is deep this year for the Bengals. And that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what Dibe's take is on that because O-line is really deep this year. You got the rookie quarterback, second-year quarterback in Joe Burrow. They undoubtedly need offensive line, but they could use a playmaker. So I'm interested to see which way Dibes goes with this.
All right, so I am on the clock here. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals right now. I mean, you look at the Bengals roster; they need help pretty much across the board. They've got Spain at guard, who just hasn't really been a massive improvement for this team. He's not really a long-term fix. You look at could they take a top tackle here? Could they take a playmaker here? You look at wide receiver, AJ Green. I think he just signed. Who did he just sign with the Cardinals? He's gone.
Cardinals.
So you got Tyler Boyd. You've got T. Higgins, the top wideouts for Joe Burrow going into next season. That's a nice one too, but they could add a little bit extra there. They could a little depth. Possibly. I'm seeing Rob kind of squirm in his chair right there.
Howie right now.
Getting a deep threat for the Bengals, one that could be creative with the ball in his hands, one that could be good after the catch, one that's electric. I don't know who I could possibly be talking about. Could they go offensive tackle? And guys, the pick is in. The pick here is Penei Sewell goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. This guy's a monster, 6'6", 325 pounds. This guy was dominating people as a 19-year-old in college, 15 total pressures and 1 sack allowed in his entire college career. You got to protect Joe Burrow. That's the name of the game. You grab a monstrous left tackle. Maybe you flip Jonah Williams at right tackle. And then, who knows what you got. But you always take the bona fide franchise left tackle if you have that opportunity. Daniel Jeremiah on Penei Sewell said he reminds him of Taylor Lewan coming out of Michigan. Both have ideal frames. They both play with a nasty temperament. He plays with more power than Lewan, and he's a little more athletic in space. So you look at Lewan, who was like a Pro Bowl in 3 of his first 6 seasons, and he says he sees the same potential for Penei Sewell. So at the end of the day, if you have the potential to take a franchise left tackle in the top 5 of the draft, you do it, and you make everyone else look silly. Penei Sewell to the Bengals, and this is an A-plus pick for Joe Burrow in the city of Cincinnati. And I will put that on the board here, and that means who's up next? That means Rob.
Eagles are up with Rob.
Eagles are on the clock.
So this is one of those moments where Eagles fans primarily are ecstatic right now, right? They are ready to pop champagne bottles. They're ready to do dances. They're ready to do everything that we want to do. But there is also that tinge in all of us that has been in this situation year after year, expecting one name and hearing another. Fortunately for
Can I
me,
ask you a question, Rob?
yeah.
Is there a Canadian firefighter in this draft that you could take?
There's not a Canadian firefighter I could think of, but there may be a Canadian leaguer that we don't know about that Howie is really excited about at pick 6. But this is a perfect scenario for Eagles fans. The 4 top quarterbacks are off the board. The left tackle that would have probably had you stopping and thinking is off the board. So really, your best available players are playmakers at this point, right? And they're all in positions where the Eagles could use some help. Wide receiver, tight end, cornerback to a certain extent, although I'd rather not do that at pick 6. So in my mind, you look at this and you have Ja'Marr Chase, you have Kyle Pitts. Now, some people are going to tell you that Kyle Pitts is, he's transcending the game. He's going to be – and I don't disagree with any of that. But there's something that we are all forgetting 2019. We are all forgetting Joe Burrow and LSU rolling over everybody. And we're all forgetting that every one of us going to the draft said, man, it would have been cool if Ja'Marr Chase was coming out in this draft, but the Eagles will never be bad enough to get Ja'Marr Chase. Well, then 2020 happened, and the Eagles are certainly bad enough to get Ja'Marr Chase. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If the Eagles do have this opportunity and they do not run to the podium and select Ja'Marr Chase, I swear to you, the idea of buying just a token Colts hat just to rub it is now my new fandom. It's my new fandom because I cannot let another, perennial Pro Bowl star wide receiver go. And I am going to tell you right now that for me, who probably should be the GM of the Eagles, the pick is in. In Philadelphia, rejoice because you should have a number 1 receiver for the next 10 to 12 years in Ja'Marr Chase from LSU.
Let's go.
I was honestly waiting for you to just be trolling everybody and go through that whole speech and say, you should have a number 1 receiver for years, Rashod Bateman, or just pull out some random name. That's what I was waiting on.
Rondale Moore.
They're from Illinois with the last name that I cannot pronounce.
Okay, so I'm on the clock at 7 for the Lions.
Says whoever the Eagles draft will probably be trash.
Also, very valid.
Fair. It's
very
fair.
valid. We can't argue that point right now.
None.
Okay, so I'm on the clock with the Lions at 7. If I'm the Lions, I'm thinking one of two ways right here. It's got to be a receiver or a cornerback. They literally lost their trio of wide receivers to free agency. So they lose Kenny Golladay, they lose Marvin Jones, they lose Danny Amendola, they lose Matthew Stafford. So their quarterback, top 3 receivers are all gone. Pitts is not really in the equation because they took Hawkinson high last year. They've got a good tight end there. So wide receiver is very much in play. Here's their current wide receiver depth chart, okay? They've got Brashad Perryman, who has never had an 800-yard season. They've got Tyrell Williams, who has had 1. And they have a guy named Victor Bolden Jr. that I have never even heard of before. Okay, that's their trio of receivers. They need help. Jared Goff's not a good quarterback, but you're not reaching for Mac Jones here. You're going to have to try to do something with what you got. And so they could definitely use a receiver. They could also use a cornerback. Now, they took Jeffrey Okudah high in the last draft, and they totally botched that. Okay. Now, I think Okudah's a good player. He was terrible last year, but I believe he will rebound this year with some competent coaching. I mean, Eagles fans are very well aware of who the defensive coach was for the Lions last year. Corey Undlin, the guy who couldn't develop a defensive back forever in Philadelphia. So I fully expect Okudah to rebound. So where I'm sitting, I think the receivers are better than the current corners. And I think they have one better piece at corner than they have at receiver. So it's got to be a receiver. So it comes down to Devonta Smith or Jaylen Waddle. And for me, it's no contest. The guy that I would much rather have – I guess I'll let you cue the pick. The pick is in.
Oh, my bad.
With the 7th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select wide receiver Jaylen Waddle, University of Alabama. I think Waddle – I watched Jaylen Waddle's film and I see Tyreek Hill. I am not sure. I have not finalized my big board yet. I'm not sure that he won't end up ranking above Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts for me. I'm that high on him. I think it's a legitimate conversation. And so for the Lions to get a quick guy they can use out of the slot, a deep threat, a guy they can manufacture touches for in an offense where they're going to have to do that because they do not have a good quarterback, I think it's a slam dunk for the Lions, and they'll sprint to the podium to make that pick.
Boom. Renegade says, shock Detroit picking a wide receiver, and Detroit is basically Eagles circa 2019-2020.
That's what happens when you lose your top 3 in free agency in one offseason.
All right. So who is officially on the clock? That goes to Rob with the Miami Dolphins in a trade back.
Yeah. So right. Everyone talks about, why would Miami trade? You know, they need a wide receiver. They could take Jamar Chase, and they could. Or you keep in mind, you know, they have a Mike Gesicki at tight end. They have a Devontae Parker. So they're in an interesting spot here because, you know, they tried to trade for an offensive tackle this offseason, and that did not work out as the guy is just a train wreck, and they had to release him as quickly as they traded for him. So you have a couple offensive linemen out there, but Miami has, you know, the nice thing about Miami is a rookie wide receiver coming in does not need to be the go-to right now because you have a Devontae Parker, you have a veteran presence there. This is a perfect landing spot for many, many reasons for a certain Alabama Heisman Trophy winner. You know, he played with the quarterback in college. He doesn't have to be the guy right away. And look, I understand the concerns of a Devonta Smith's body. I get it. But I also get that you can't discount the production this guy had on the field. I mean, he was just an unbelievable football player. And I don't think if the Dolphins trade back and still have an opportunity to get one of the top 3 wide receivers in this class, that many would say, I know that there's arguments to be made about some of those guys later in the round. I don't think Miami's going to think too long about this. They may think offensive tackle. They may. But I think what they do with this pick is they go wide receiver. So the pick is in. And the Miami Dolphins will select Devonta Smith from Alabama.
Good pick, man. My goodness, the Miami Dolphins have moved back and selected Devonta Smith. What an A-plus draft for them so far. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. The Smith thing has completely fallen. Like when this whole process started, when we started doing all these mock drafts, it was like 1A, 1B, Chase Smith. And then we get into Kyle Pitts, and then we get into Jaylen Waddle, and there's more time. There's not more tape, and this guy's fallen for whatever reason, but this guy is the pure technician. You can move him in the slot. You can put him outside. The weight is scary, but my God, the guy just is a beautiful route runner, something the Eagles have no idea. Eagles wide receivers have no idea what that is. So anyway, who is up next?
Now the Falcons, which is me. I'm on the clock for the Falcons.
All
so
right.
Falcons traded back from 4 with the Broncos, picked up that 2nd, 5th, and future 2nd-round pick because, you know, we talked about they need a corner, they need an edge. It was too high for either one. So they trade back, they pick up those picks, and they're still sitting on the board. And we sit on the board here at 9, and you still have your pick of any corner or edge that you want. But now I'm sitting here seeing Kyle Pitts falling. And that becomes a really interesting scenario for the Falcons because the Falcons have restructured Matt Ryan. He's there for 2 more years. They think that they can win with Matt Ryan or they wouldn't make that move, right? They're at the top of the draft. They have the chance to get a quarterback. They're saying, hey, we're going to push the chips into the middle. We can win now. And so the question is, what's going to help you do that more? Is it going to be addressing the defense, that dreadful defense, or is it adding an elite playmaker like Kyle Pitts to go with Julio Jones, to go with Calvin Ridley? And so the pick is in for the Atlanta Falcons. With the 9th pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select cornerback Patrick Surtain.
Patrick Surtain is off the board. Okay, here we go, guys.
And Eagles fans are in demise right now because they're seeing the Giants on the board.
So here's my thing. I like Caleb Farley better than Patrick Surtain. Prior to the news about his back operation coming out like 2 days ago, Caleb Farley would have been this pick. But the reality is 2 years ago, he suffered a back injury that caused him to miss several games, the end of the season. He did not play in 2020, and he's still having back surgeries, and that's scary. So I think he's the better player. I think he's the better prospect. I'm too scared of that medical history. And so that's why Surtain goes off the board instead of Farley here to give the Falcons a legitimate threat in their secondary.
All right, and you're up again, Shane.
And I am up again with the Dallas Cowboys. And so the Dallas Cowboys are also in an interesting situation. Okay. The Cowboys desperately need defensive help, right? And that, I mean, we can talk about that the wheels fell off of their season because Dak Prescott got hurt. But the fact that their defense was so pathetic did not help them, right? So they gave up the most 25-yard receiving touchdowns in the NFL. They gave up while also giving up the second most rushing yards per game. Okay, they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. They couldn't keep pace with other offenses in these shootouts. So you look at Caleb Farley there, right? You look at J.C. Horn there. Now they signed Keanu Neal in the offseason. That's not enough to address their defense. This pick should absolutely be your pick of Farley or Horn. That's the direction the Cowboys should go. And so the pick is in. With the 10th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select tight end Kyle Pitts, University of Florida.
All right.
And at the end of the day, I just don't think Jerry Jones can help himself. If Kyle Pitts is there and Blake Jarwin is their starting tight end, I really don't think he can. I mean, you saw it last year. Their offense was loaded, and they were just giddy to take CeeDee Lamb when they probably should have went defense. I think they do the same thing here. And so tight end's a legitimate hole. Their offense is just a freaking nightmare for anybody at this point. And I think they'd be really happy with that pick.
I mean, dude, Kyle Pitts in a Cowboys jersey is going to just give me nightmares, man.
It really is. It really is.
Anyway. All right. That means I am on the clock. We have Renegade say, don't do it. Can't root for Micah Parsons in a Cowboys jersey. We've got JR. What's going on, brother? Saying, keep it up. Great stuff. Cowboys going for sure. Offense. I love it. All right. So
if the Cowboys go for offense again, like, I get it. I mean, you know, it's tough to not pick Pitts as he's on the board. My God, like, do something. That was a train wreck that you couldn't win that division last year.
Yeah. Totally.
But you're telling me that they would look at that board and not say, hey, we signed Keanu Neal. Let's go get Kyle Pitts.
Listen, I'm not saying that you're off. I mean, oh my God. It's
if the board fell that way and they did it, I would troll them on podcasts and then have nightmares every night about that offer.
Yeah. Jeffrey Lurie and Jerry Jones are trying to one-up each other on just stupidity right now. And that would just be another one of those moments.
We have Rufus saying Dallas always has the tight end to be a great team, and Kyle Pitts won't make it to the 10th pick. You could be right there, Joshua. So that means I am officially on the clock. I've got the New York Football Giants. I am just doing backflips. I am doing backflips that my guy fell to the New York Giants. The key to the New York Giants in 2021 has to be just to put enough pieces to confidently evaluate Daniel Jones and where things stand for this guy as a franchise quarterback. So the last thing you want, Eagles, is to put this guy and you don't really know what you got. You look at maybe wide receiver. Could they add to Slayton, Shepard, Ingram heading into next season? Nah, man. I think this is a no-brainer pick. The guy they want fell. I'm talking about an offensive lineman in Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater. Oh, the pick is in. I keep doing it. The New York Football Giants are pleased to select Rashawn Slater, another guy with the ceiling of a franchise left tackle. They took Andrew Thomas with the 4th overall pick last year. He was kind of disappointing. However, you look at his blown block rate, 5.8%, the highest among tackles with 300 or more snaps. Not good enough. When you get a guy like Rashawn Slater, you take him every single time. You look at Rashawn Slater in college. He opted out of the 2020 college football season to prepare for this draft. His 2019 numbers, when you look even further, he allowed 5 pressures in 787 total snaps, a lot of pressure in just 0.64% of his snaps in 2019. And then, which is crazy when you think Penei Sewell allowed 0.76% of his snaps. He had a Pro Football Focus grade of 90.1. You look at his run blocking grade of 89.1, which was even higher than his pass blocking grade. So all across the board, this guy's going to be a problem for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. Rashawn Slater, Andrew Thomas, they got 2 bona fide tackles there to protect Daniel Jones moving forward for the New York Giants. A++ pick. Let's go, guys. That means who is on the clock?
That would be me.
The 49ers.
And I believe it's the 49ers. I'm going to need you to pull up the available players here. Because the 49ers are, they were a team that probably wanted to try and trade up for a quarterback. I think that they would have liked to have done that. But they now sit here, okay, and if you
need to pick Slater for the Giants.
Yeah,
it still shows you on the clock.
I'm on it.
You're gonna get sniped because you forgot to turn in your card.
Yep, I'm about to pick him. I'm about to pick him now. So you sit here and they want a quarterback, but I don't know if this is for me, and this could just be bias. If I'm the 49ers, I think it's a little early for Mac Jones. I don't think I'm ready to pull the trigger on Mac Jones at this pick, especially when another primary need of mine is the corner position. 49ers had a really tough time last year defending the pass, and you could go into the game against the Eagles when Travis Fulgham burns them down the sideline, and they just had a difficult time. And listen, there's a kid on the board right now that has kind of, unless you follow the draft like you guys do, has kind of slid under the radar up until now. And I think that San Francisco wants to build back on that side of the football. That was their bread and butter a couple years ago, and I think they want to build back on that side. And I think that the pick is going to be in here, okay? And I am believing that the 49ers will select J.C. Horn, cornerback.
Nice.
I think that is a bigger need than people realize for this team. And I think when they see Horn, I think they're going to be very intrigued to make that the pick.
All right.
You guys see his pro day numbers and stuff that came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. That I don't know if you guys follow like the relative athletic score of guys very much, but he has the number one relative athletic score of any cornerback since the metric was invented. straight 10.0. So
we have a comment from Jason J. Said Mac Jones. The thing that scares me is that he'll be a career game manager and is really a much bigger upgrade than my G. I'm not sure what that means. Jimmy G. We have a Niners fan joining. All right, awesome.
Chase pick at 6. That was Rob. He made the Chase pick.
Rob had the Eagles selection, and Chase fell to number.
You're welcome.
All right, you're up, Chase.
Okay, so I'm on the board with the Chargers. So here's the thing with the Chargers: they only return one of their starting offensive linemen from last year. Not ideal. And, I mean, it wasn't a particularly good unit to begin with, but that continuity is all shot to pieces. So they made a big signing. They signed Corey Linsley from the Packers, and they signed Matt Feeler, who's probably – he's definitely going to be a starter for them. They lost 4 guys, but they still need offensive line badly. They could also consider cornerback. Brandon Staley comes over from the Rams where he had the number 1 defense, and he had a loaded secondary to work with. So – if I'm Staley sitting here, I'm thinking, we could roll the dice on a really talented guy in Caleb Farley, or we can look at the offensive line. But the thing is, you got the rookie quarterback, second-year quarterback, Justin Herbert. He had a good year. You can't put this guy out here and get him killed. And so I'm looking to the offensive line, and there's a few options here available. You've got Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle from Virginia Tech. And you've got Elijah Vera-Tucker from USC. Those are kind of the 2 guys that I'd be looking at offensively for them. And so my pick is in. And with the 13th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select interior offensive lineman Elijah Vera-Tucker, USC. So here's the thing with Vera-Tucker for me. As I look at – I know Christian Darrisaw is high for a lot of people. I've got some concerns about his ability to play offensive tackle. I've got some major concerns about some of his balance, some of his technical stuff, his footwork. It scares me a little bit. And so I look at a guy like Elijah Vera-Tucker, who I think is a phenomenal prospect. He played interior offensive line at USC. To be honest, I'm drafting him to play him at offensive tackle. And if it doesn't work out, I'm kicking him back to offensive guard, and he's going to be an elite offensive guard for me for a lot of years. So I'm taking him. I'm going to try him out at offensive tackle in training camp at the beginning of the year, but we'll kick him inside if we need to. But I think wherever you play this guy, I think he's going to end up being really good for a long time.
That was a really good selection, man, because that was my target because I have the next pick here. Let me make this official here in our draft machine. Elijah Vera-Tucker there to the Chargers. That was exactly who I had.
I do have no idea how to spell his name, so.
You look at, the Minnesota Vikings currently, they just brought in Patrick Peterson. They really haven't done anything on the offensive line or, that is definitely kind of the main focus.
Hey, I think your phone's ringing, Dibes. I think your phone's ringing.
Oh,
you want to pick up the phone? I think the Washington football team is on the phone. Because the Washington football team wants a quarterback, and they don't think Mac Jones is going to make it past the New England Patriots.
Ooh. All right, ring, 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 ring. Yes, this is the Minnesota Vikings. Who am I speaking?
Hey, this is the football team. Does that narrow it down for you?
All right. So you definitely took the guy I was targeting there at offensive line, and I'm definitely open to trading back because I definitely have needs at defensive line and wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. What do you want to offer?
So I'm telling you, I know you're looking at defensive line. There's nobody you want to take this high. Your top receivers are gone. The second tier is going to sit here for a little bit. So I'm going to offer you the chance to move back to 19, and I'm going to give you a second-round pick this year, and I'm going to give you a second-round pick next year.
All right, 14-19 for a second. Yeah, I'm in. Let's go. We're trading it.
All right.
The Minnesota Vikings are officially trading back with which team?
The football team.
The football team.
That team.
One of the football teams.
One of those.
The football team.
Vikings.
Okay, so the trade is going to be via the Vikings for 1, 2,
2 and a future 2.
and 2 next. Okay, so the pick is in. Well, whenever it.
Hold on, give me a second. It said Washington has denied the trade offer.
I thought it accepted everything.
All right, let's
It's all on there.
Let's add a
Okay.
future. Let's add a
Okay.
future. Oh, they are denying it straight through. Interesting. All right, what do we do here?
What?
Oh, wait. Sorry, pick there. Future second. Yeah, no, there it's straight.
Put the future first on there. Let's see if it moves the bar.
No.
Weird. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so I know it's coded in there like the likelihood that teams will trade back. Like, for example, I know the Bengals never trade back. The Vikings may be one of those teams that just never trades back.
All right,
so
14.
okay, so
14
it's
for
not
19 and a second. Yeah, they are definitely. It's not even moving. So,
all right. So
guys.
no deal. No deal.
Apparently, there's no deal being made.
Goodell said no.
There is no deal. No deal.
How David Stern-esque of him.
All right, so Vikings are still up then.
Vikings are officially on the clock. They're very upset that their guy here is off the board, which means I am just going to go with the next best thing here. I'm going to go. We're going to take Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. You look at the Vikings they need help at wide receiver, defensive line, rushing the passer. But O-line, the Vikings have to solidify their offensive line around Kirk Cousins. They just brought in Patrick Peterson. They spent 2 second-round picks in the last 3 years. Is this guy a long-term answer at tackle? We will see. But this seems like a no-brainer pick for the Minnesota Vikings. They have to be able to protect Kirk Cousins moving forward. And that is the Minnesota Vikings selection. Which means, Rob, you are up with the Patriots selection.
And listen, you know the Patriots, right? They are the smartest team in the room, and they actually are. Unlike Howie Roseman, the Patriots typically are the smartest team in the room. And they're in a position here where 2 of their bigger needs have 2 pretty solid options. And yet, as a Patriot front office member, they always seem to be looking to accrue picks. They do. And, they're probably listening to some offers and hoping the phone rings and somebody blows them away. But if it's not going to ring, they really have a decision to make here. And this may excite some people behind them because I don't think they make the move for the quarterback in the first round. I just don't think that's their MO. Their MO is not to choose the first-round quarterback. Instead, I think they like those impact defensive players who just get after it. And they love linebackers that just get after it. And where we sit right now is with a certain linebacker who sat out last year with COVID, due to COVID, just sitting on the board waiting to become a Bill Belichick disciple. So the pick is in. And it's loading. And it's still in, though. I promise. There. All right. Micah Parsons, linebacker, Penn State, I think is a prototypical linebacker that you'll watch flourish in New England, and you'll learn to hate him with that stupid Patriot on his head. Not the Patriots are stupid, but the NFL Patriots are. So Micah Parsons is your newest New England Patriot.
All right.
Which means
So that puts the Cardinals on the clock. So I'm sitting here with the Cardinals, and I'm thinking, okay, we think we're going to win this year. We convinced J.J. Watt we're a contender. We have J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones as our edge rushers, but we really don't have anybody in the middle of that defensive line. And so we'd love to take an interior defensive lineman. Unfortunately, we just don't have anybody with a first-round grade here. So interior defensive line is probably not going to work. So the second thing I'm thinking is maybe we're going to take a cornerback. Cornerbacks, they struggled in pass coverage last year for the Cardinals. They didn't really address it in free agency beyond signing Robert Alford, which doesn't move the needle for me. And so the Arizona Cardinals pick is in. And with the 16th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select cornerback Caleb Farley, Virginia Tech. Again, this is a guy. He is the number one defensive player on my board if his medicals check out, and I think he's worth the risk at 16 for the Cardinals, and so that's our pick.
All right. That means the Las Vegas Raiders are officially on the clock, and that is my squad. The Raiders offense is, mostly pretty much set, I think, heading into next season. The only kind of left open spot is at wide receiver. Derek Carr, for better or worse, are going to keep rolling with this guy. He's not that kind of quarterback that can truly carry you in the playoffs, but he's still kind of in that, right below that upper tier of quarterbacks. You look at the Raiders, they spent 2 draft picks on wide receivers in the final 2 days of the 2020 NFL Draft. So I don't think they're going to be aggressively targeting offense this season in the first round. So I think they're really going to be truly aggressive defensively. And the two positions that I keep going back and forth on is linebacker and interior defensive line or an edge rusher. And the Raiders are definitely upset that Micah Parsons went to the New England Patriots because they were definitely hoping that Parsons fell to the Raiders. That would have been a dream pick. The Raiders haven't had a good linebacker in quite some time. So with that being said, the pick is in. The position that the Raiders are going with is Christian Barmore, an interior defensive lineman. This guy is a beast. This is a guy that has a really intriguing blend of size and power and bend. This is one of the best interior pass rushers in the draft that come out of college in the last several years. He's got an amazing first step that can keep guys inside and out off balance. You look at Christian Barmore, he played just 747 career snaps, but his 2-year pass rush grade ranks in the 99th percentile compared to recent NFL prospects. You look at Alabama defensive coordinator Pete Golding. This is a guy who used a 3-4 defense. So technically, this guy, Barmore, played a lot more edge than inside. But I think this guy's a true defensive tackle at the next level. You look at him in a 4-3 base. This guy's going to be truly exciting. He might be a reach according to the Draft Network. But you look at defensive line, there is a massive gap between this guy and the next tier of prospects. I think this is a no-brainer pick for the Las Vegas Raiders, and the fans will be truly excited about this selection.
All right,
that puts the Miami Dolphins back on the clock.
Miami is back on the clock. They filled a need with wide receiver earlier in this draft. Another need that this Miami Dolphins team has is on the other side of the ball, and it's edge. They need some pressure coming off of the edge. And there's a guy here who has all the tools to be really, really, really good coming off the edge. But not only that, he's got an unbelievable backstory that drives him. And some say his intangibles are, I think the Draft Network called him a home run when it comes to intangibles. And this guy, he still has some fundamental improvements to make, but he could be a guy that wreaks havoc on opposing offenses. So the pick is in. And you guys can tell me if I'm saying the name wrong, because there's a good chance I am. But the pick will be Mr. Kwity Paye.
Kwity Paye. Yeah, man.
Kwity Paye, edge from Michigan. I think this is a good spot in the draft board for him. And I think he fits, one of Miami's bigger needs, which is getting some pressure off of the edge going into 2021.
Kwity Paye. Very nice. Very nice. That means the football. No, who's up?
Yeah.
The football team.
Football team. So the pick's in.
Oh, my God. Hold on, man.
The Washington football team sprints to the podium to select quarterback Mac Jones, University of Alabama. So listen, they could go some different directions here. They could look at wide receiver. Okay, they signed Curtis Samuel to pair with Terry McLaurin. They could look for a tight end upgrade on Logan Thomas. They could look for a linebacker, an offensive tackle. But if Mac Jones is there, they will sprint to the podium and they will make that pick. I mean, we use this all the time. We say teams are a quarterback away. They are a quarterback away from being a very scary football team. One of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. Ron Rivera is going to love this guy. He's a guy that's not going to make you look stupid. You might put the game manager tag on him. And I think we do that a little bit because of the system that he played in. Can you guys still hear me? My camera just went off, but can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We like to slap the game manager on him because he played at Alabama and all the talent he played with. But, I mean, he did what you would want him to do, right? He didn't show that he can't push the ball downfield. He was very accurate. The biggest limitation is his mobility. And, he's got good footwork in the pocket. He's not going to be a running threat. But Ron Rivera would be thrilled with that pick. And Chicago would collectively melt down if Mac Jones goes off the board one pick before they're up.
I love it. All right, so Mac Jones is off the board, and I have the Chicago Bears who are up next here. Pick number 20. You look at the Chicago Bears. They're clearly a team that was a finalist for trying to acquire Carson Wentz, trying to get Russell Wilson, trying to get Deshaun Watson via trade. The list goes
and Andy Dalton it is.
List goes on and on.
How devastating is it to go from we offered 3 firsts and a third for Russell Wilson till we signed Andy Dalton?
Yeah.
And also just random question.
Yeah.
We offered 3 firsts and a third for Russell Wilson. Why not 3 firsts and a second? Was that was that the straw that broke the camel's back? Just go get the guy. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So you took Mac Jones. I don't really see a quarterback there for the Chicago Bears right now. So I'm going to go with another need, which is a clear need for the Chicago Bears. You look at the wide receiver position. It's going to be truly difficult for the Chicago Bears to kind of keep Allen Robinson on this team, who has absolutely blown away expectations. 88.3 receiving grade, despite catching passes from the trash of the trash. Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky. This guy, I think, signed a franchise tender. So he's going to be there for another year. So what does that mean moving forward? I think the Chicago Bears saw another wide receiver fall into their lap that I think is in the top of that second tier of wide receivers in this draft. And that means the pick is in. The team is very happy to select Rashod Bateman here to the Chicago Bears. This is a guy that has that ability to win at the catch point and after the catch. One of the best releases in the draft. A truly great route runner. He's forced 36 missed tackles on his 147 catches in 2+ years there in college. He's a really good fit with Chicago. Given the unknown future of Allen Robinson, Rashod Bateman is a great selection and a value pick here for the Chicago Bears, no matter what happens with Allen Robinson.
Well, you just broke Frank Reich and Carson Wentz's heart. Frank Reich had planned on doing what the Eagles failed to do for so many years, and that was to try and put talent around his franchise quarterback. So when Carson Wentz becomes the comeback player of the year this year and is in the MVP chase, and we're all sitting here going, oh, man, why couldn't he play like that here? And we all realize how stupid some of the fans are here. But I remember, I even got to talk about Carson Wentz. I was MIA during that whole thing, all right? No, this shit has been waiting for a long time. I've been holding this shit in. But, when you see guys like Mel Kiper absolutely blast the Eagles for doing what they did, I rest my case. I'm going to move on from there. But, I do believe Carson Wentz is a guy that if you could continue to make sure that the offensive line is where you need it to be and you give Carson the time, he could be a very, very good quarterback for you. And where the Colts offensive line is certainly better than what Carson played behind last year, they could still use some offensive tackle help. And the guy I'm going to have him pick here is a guy that probably starts at right tackle, could maybe at some point in his career move to left tackle, could also possibly play guard. He's just that type of kid who could play a lot of different positions. And so the pick is in here. And I'm going to go with Jalen Mayfield, offensive tackle from Michigan. And what I think Frank Reich in Indianapolis is going to like about this kid is, you could play him in multiple positions, right? He's not just one position and he's stuck there. I think he's a kid that with time and development can be a left tackle, can move inside the guard if you need him to. But I think he could very well be a plug and play at the right tackle position. And you're just solidifying the offensive line to give Carson Wentz more time back there.
All right. You're up, Shane.
All right. Well, he was my backup plan because I really thought the way you started talking, I thought you were about to take the guy that I was looking at. So for the Titans, they lost Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith in free agency. So outside of A.J. Brown, they only have one player on their roster right now that has 200 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. So they got nothing after A.J. Brown. So wide receiver is the move for them. But I thought Rob was about to take this guy, and I could see them taking an offensive lineman or a corner if one falls. And so if Rob took this guy, I would have taken Mayfield just because there's not another receiver that I have rated highly enough here. But our pick is in. And with the whatever pick we're on in the 2021 NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans are going to select wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr.,
Nice.
LSU. So Marshall is a big dude. He's 6'3", right? He's moved around a little bit of everywhere. He was kind of the forgotten guy with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, but with them both out of the way, he had a great 2020. So they can move him around everywhere. He's a big body alongside Corey Davis. We know that offense revolves around Derrick Henry. And although he's got some inconsistent moments as a blocker, he's a pretty good blocker too. That's what puts him over a guy like Kadarius Toney for me. And so I think the Titans would be really happy with that pick.
All right. That means I am up with the next selection. I've got the second selection by the New York Giants. We went with our number 2 selection with Justin Fields there. We got our franchise quarterback. You look at the needs for the Jets, and that is clearly defensive line. The Jets added defensive end Carl Lawson from the Bengals during free agency. This guy during 4 years with the Bengals had 20 sacks, 83 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles. So he's kind of been somewhat consistent for the Bengals, but he's no needle mover. Behind Carl Lawson, the New York Jets have a ton of question marks. Their Huff and Phillips are two players with some experience, but you look at their numbers combined the last 3 years: 3.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits. Defensive line is that sexy area for the New York Jets to target a true pass rusher here in the bottom half of the first round. That means the pick is in. The New York Jets are happy to select Gregory Rousseau, one of my favorite picks in this draft. Gregory Rousseau is a physical beast, 6'7", 270 pounds, a wingspan 7 foot plus. The Knox, he only played 1 season at Miami, so he's a bit of a project, just like Justin Fields. I think that's what the Jets are doing here. They're rolling the dice on ceiling, on potential. You look at Gregory Rousseau, he's got really rare speed for a guy that's 6'7". He's got a thick base that can also help in that running game. And he doesn't get fooled by misdirection. He's got a ton of versatility. He can move all across the defensive line. Gregory Rousseau, Justin Fields, adding 2 major building blocks for the New York Jets.
All right, so does that put me up with the Pittsburgh Steelers here?
Yep.
You on the clock.
I am on the clock. Well, listen, Pittsburgh is always at its best when they are that tough, hard-nosed football team. Defense is strong, and their running game is strong. And last year, everything seemed to go wrong for them. But their running game was not what you would call the typical Pittsburgh Steelers running game, I don't think. Yeah, I felt like every week they were starting another guy, whether it be for injury or whatever the reason may be. They're done with that. They want the featured back. They want their guy. And they really have the pick of 2 guys here that they really are just going to look at who fits the Pittsburgh Steelers way. What a Pittsburgh Steelers way is the will to get that extra yard, the ability to just pound the ball, to have versatility, to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield as well. And this young man got better than that every single year. He comes from a championship – well, they both did, but he comes from the most recent championship-winning college team. So let's put the pick in for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. And Pittsburgh will pick Najee Harris, running back, Alabama. I mean, I look at this guy and say, yeah, he's a Pittsburgh Steelers running back. He just fits the mold of that guy that's just like a December day in Pittsburgh with the smoke on the field coming from underneath the players' helmets, and Najee Harris is running for $175 and 3 touchdowns to win a game.
I like it, especially with sort of the demise of Big Ben. They're going to run it back one more year with him, but no quarterback on the board. I think he gives you as good a shot as any to sustain that offense.
Yep.
Okay, so the Jaguars are on the clock at 25. They added Trevor Lawrence at number 1 overall. And so there's some different options they could go here. We could grab an offensive tackle or grab a playmaker to help out the young rookie. Or we could look to the defensive side of the ball. The Jaguars are going to be making a defensive change this year. They brought in 3 defensive assistants from the Ravens, and so they're probably going to transition to a 3-4 type of defense, that real aggressive style of play we're used to seeing in Baltimore. So you could see them go a lot of different ways here, but our pick is in. And with the 25th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select safety Trevon Moehrig, TCU. Moehrig is safety 1 in this class, and there's a huge gap to safety 2. He is extremely athletic. He can play single high in cover 1, cover 3. He can match guys up in man. If you're going to play the aggressive style of defense that they're going to try to transition to, having that guy on the back end that can do something is huge. And that's going to be a big boost for them on the defensive side of the ball.
Chris. We can't hear you.
Oh, I thought that was me. I thought my audio died, and I was freaking out. I was like, I don't know what he's
I couldn't hear him either.
My bad, guys. I was saying that Trevon Moehrig is one of my favorite prospects in the entire draft. And definitely, if this guy miraculously falls to the second round for the Birds, this is one of those run to the podium, select, and just do backflips. Amazing. I mean, I love this guy as a prospect, which means I am up with the Cleveland Browns here at pick number 26. I've got several needs here. I've got linebacker, I've got edge, I've got wide receiver. The clear headliner here for the Cleveland Browns is like there are very few question marks on this roster. The Browns have been one of the busiest teams here in free agency. They signed a slew of defensive players. You look at on the offensive side of the ball, I think a question mark could be who is that third wide receiver behind Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. So the way the board fell, I am the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to take the guy who I think has the highest ceiling and most playmaking potential and a biggest need here. I'm going Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker. That is exactly what the Cleveland Browns need. This guy's explosive. He's athletic. He's got a real nose for the football. Perhaps one of the biggest changes in the NFL over the last decade has been the increase in passing. This guy's tremendous in coverage, and he has a nose to actually blitz the quarterback as well. I think definitely a low-key great draft pick here for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah.
Great pick.
All right, so
I'm not so sure that he's not linebacker 1 in the class, to be honest.
All right, that means we have Rob
Ravens
with the Ravens.
The Ravens are so interesting because they've kind of had a tough time in free agency. They've talked to a lot of wide receivers, but guys have gone elsewhere. They haven't signed with them. They need some edge rushing help, but I think they're going to look for a little firepower to add to the offensive side of the ball here. Lamar Jackson, I don't know if you'd say it was a major slump year, but it was not the same type of year he obviously had the year prior. And he needs some more weapons. And there's an electric weapon that's out there sitting. He may not have the size, but this kid can just you want to talk about taking the roof off a defense. This kid can do just that. So the pick is in. And I'm going to give Lamar Jackson another weapon here. And the Baltimore Ravens are going to select Kadarius Toney, wide receiver from Florida. I know he's not a bigger body, but right now I just think the Ravens want firepower. And now you're going to have him and Hollywood Brown. You got some speed out there. So the weapons are starting to build for Lamar.
All right. How many wide receivers is that now in the?
I was going to ask when I got on the clock with the Saints if I missed him being taken because I didn't see him on the board over there, and that was going to be my pick. So thanks for that. So the Saints come up on the clock now, and I'm going to have to scramble. But the Saints, they could go a lot of ways with this pick. They could look at a receiver. They could look at a linebacker, an edge, a cornerback. There's really a lot of places they could go. Some interesting guys on the board. Azeez Ojulari is an interesting guy. He profiles. He could play with a hand in the dirt. He could play off-ball linebacker even. I mean, he's real flexible. Or I guess I should say he's real versatile. They lost Emmanuel Sanders. They lost Janoris Jenkins. Those are both going to be really big losses for them. They can't replace it all here, but they're going to have to make a choice, and so the Saints pick is in. With the 28th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select cornerback Greg Newsome II, Northwestern.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean, they lose Janoris Jenkins. Patrick Robinson's an aging guy. I think Greg Newsome's the clear CB4 in this class. I think he goes round 1. I don't consider it a reach. I think it's a good player at a position of need for them.
Awesome. Greg Newsome is off the board. That means my selection here with who's up next? Where are we at? We're at pick number 29. All right. The Green Bay Packers. The Packers, you look at the needs of the Packers. They have their alpha wide receiver in Davante Adams. Not only one of the best receivers on the team, one of the best receivers in the league, period. They've got a designated deep threat in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They've got a possession receiver in Alan Lazard. But I think Green Bay is missing that, like, after the catch playmaker. I was a little nervous, Rob, that you were going to take my guy here. And I think this is a perfect spot for him. That's, this is one of the best playmaking wide receivers in the entire draft, which means the pick is in. The Green Bay Packers select Rondale Moore. This is a guy that has burst onto the scene in 2018 as a true freshman. He had a monster season, 154 targets, hauling in 74% of those passes for over 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, and the majority of those snaps coming in the slot. According to Pro Football Focus, he finished second in college in total yards, fifth per in yards per route. 892 of those total yards came in after the catch, best in all of college football in 2019. So you look at his Pro Football Focus grades, 88.8, sixth among all wide receivers that year. Unfortunately, Rondale Moore, we haven't seen a lot since. So he fought a hamstring injury in 2019 that limited him to only 4 games. He appeared in only 3 games last year due to a shortened season. So he's only played 7 total games over the last 2 years. So, of course, that raises questions for who this guy is. But if those medicals clear, if healthy, this guy is a first-round talent for sure and one of the best playmakers in this draft. That's the 7th wide receiver to go in the first round. Unbelievable.
All right, so we're here with the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills are one of those teams that they can really choose, just from a couple different positions. They could go corner, they could look at a guy like an Eric Stokes, but I'm going to go to the defensive line, and I think they're going to want to continue to bolster up front. Right, you win in the trenches. Sean McDermott, a Jim Johnson disciple. Knows what it's like to have to win in the trenches. And I'm going to go with an edge defender here. And it's between 2 guys, but I'm going to pick the more versatile guy, we'll say. So the pick is in.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
And I'm going to say the Buffalo Bills take Jalen Phillips, edge rusher from Miami. This kid has experience playing hand in the dirt, interior, standing up. As people said, you would have liked to see a little more consistency from him, but the guy's balanced. He's going to be a tough guy to stop because he just does everything well. He may not be spectacular one thing over the other, but he does everything well, and I think he's going to a great situation for him to learn from a guy like Sean McDermott. So Jalen Phillips is a Buffalo Bill.
Nice. I like Jalen Phillips a lot. I like him a lot.
All right, so that puts the Chiefs on the clock, and I don't know if you saw this after the Super Bowl. Okay.
Is that Carson Wentz or what?
No. This is Patrick Mahomes. I'm pretty sure on this play he evaded all those free runners and dropped the ball right into a receiver's hands, and the dude dropped it anyways. Okay. The Chiefs are in the position you never want to find yourself in. Walking into the draft, everyone knows there is 0 chance they don't take an offensive tackle in the first round. I mean, they have to. They cut both of their offensive tackles. Eric Fisher, Mitchell Schwartz are both gone. Joe Tooney's gone. They're down 3 starters, 2 of which were all pro guys. They get Kyle Long to come out of retirement, but he's got huge injury concerns. He's missed significant time each of the last 4 seasons he played. before he sat out in 2020. So, they're going to have to take an offensive tackle. The question is which one. They've got some options on the board. Tevin Jenkins is an option. Samuel Cosmi is an option. Both Big 12 guys, both really good players. I'm personally really high on Samuel Cosmi. I think he is fantastic. I think he's really athletic. I think he is think he's got the chance to add some weight and really come into kind of his body and be a really good player. Another guy that's on the board, though, that I think they'd be really interested in is Liam Eichenberg. Liam Eichenberg is a guy that he may not have as high of a ceiling as Cosmi and Jenkins, but he's a more sure plug-and-play right now, and they're going to be throwing whoever they get into the fire as a starting left tackle week 1 of this NFL season. And so the Kansas City Chiefs pick is in. And with the 31st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to take offensive tackle Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. And again, I really do think it comes down to he's got a lower ceiling, but he's more pro-ready than these other guys. And so they're going to draft him and try to, protect Mahomes from a few extra hits next year.
All right, which means I am on the clock. I've got the last pick of the first round, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a team that's kind of just slowly but surely done exactly what they wanted to do here in free agency. They've kind of kept it all together for one more year. They've re-signed essentially every important piece from last year's championship team, from Rob Gronkowski to Levante David to Chris Godwin. The main notable name, I will say, that they haven't brought back, I'm talking about Leonard Fournette. And with that being said, the pick is in. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Travis Etienne, and the rich get richer. I'm going to go with this guy, an explosive runner who NFL.com's Daniel Jeremiah compared to Alvin Kamara. This is a guy who is productive in the passing game and great in the open field. As a Tiger, he ran nearly 5,000 yards and 70 rushing touchdowns. He's got a burst and a balance that makes him a true big play running back at the next level. So not only will this selection extend Tom Brady's career, it's going to give him a safety blanket he needs in the passing game. It's going to relieve some pressure on the tight ends to make short yardage plays. This is a home run pick for the Tampa Bay Bucs, who add another weapon to their offense. And with that said, we're done. We did it, guys. We did it. That is our first round mock. Rob, let's do final thoughts, and then we'll do plugs. Who was the winner of this draft? And then we'll do plugs. Rob, final thoughts and winner of the draft.
I'm the winner because I gave the Eagles Jamar Chase. I got everybody who they needed. It's my first day back in 3 months that I came in, and even though Dives will somehow cheat and we'll win this thing 90, like Dives will have 95% somehow, even though Shane and I will somehow add up to about 80%. Dives will still have 95% of the vote. The math won't work. But no, look, it's fun to do these mocks, and we all enjoy it. And I know you guys and myself, we do them all the time. We all know that on April 29th, everything's going to be different than what the hell we think, outside of guys like Trevor Lawrence going number one. But, here we are. TPL is going to be right there with you getting through it. And I just hope that all of us don't have that moment when the election come April 29th.
Shane, final thoughts, and who is the winner of this draft tonight?
So I'd say I'm thinking of it in terms of the NFL teams. So I'd say two teams that are winners out of this is one's the Jaguars. I mean, they got the best player at quarterback in the draft. They got the best safety in the draft. So they got they got the best player at two different high impact positions. And then the other one I'd say the Falcons would come away from this really happy. they were able to bump back and pick up 3 extra picks and get the guy they would have taken likely at 4 anyways. I think those would be 2 teams that would be really happy with how their drafts played out. And it's just pure coincidence. Those were both my teams. But
and I will say, in contrast of that, a team I didn't have, I thought the Miami Dolphins did really well here. The Miami Dolphins traded back here to number 8, got a future first-round pick, got a second-round pick in this year's draft.
It was a third.
Was it a third? Okay. And they still got their guy in Devonta Smith. Kind of something exactly what I want the Eagles to do come draft night. Rob, final plugs. Where can you find you, man?
Listen, you find me at Philly_madness. I'm gradually working myself back to the social media world. Sometimes it's actually a cleansing experience to step away from that and to kind of enjoy life without social media impacting you. But I missed it. I missed the Eagles hiring a coach, the Eagles trading Carson Wentz. I was not really on social media during these times. And I have to say, I think it was better for my sanity. But I did miss it. But check me out at Philly_madness. Going to be back hopping on here with my man Dives a lot more now with the draft coming up. And, hey, Sixers trade deadline tomorrow, baby. Let's get somebody in town. Let's get somebody in town.
Put some bodies on that bench. Shane, you're up, bro.
Follow me on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. Make sure you're following our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/thepaintedlines. And I've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, working hard at work on a football 101 series that's going to debut after the draft, going to walk through a lot of the X's and O's to help you understand what you're watching on Sunday better. So if you've ever wanted to be the smartest person in the room, you can be that on Sundays. Just stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, I kind of hit a wall over spring break, traveling and stuff. I need to get back into draft profiles. So send me a DM on Twitter. Let me know who you want to see me break down next. I'm going to try to get some film in tomorrow and maybe get another report up this weekend.
Lastly, I just want to say thank you to everyone who commented during our show tonight. This is our 3rd mock, I think. We've done a couple Eagles 7-round mock drafts. Please go check those out. Tons of fun. And what we do is then we call it dueling mocks. And we throw it to Twitter and YouTube, and people vote for who had the best mock draft. Coming up in a couple of days, I've got Jamie Lynch from 97.5 The Fanatic joining. We're going to do our own dueling mock. So me versus Jamie Lynch. That's going to be a ton of fun. Make sure you check us out, Party on Broad. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. Last up, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. For Shane, for Rob, the Rob, for myself, thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.
And the Sixers win it! Wow! Oh, man, and being just posterized Russell Westbrook.